What's going on, guys? Welcome back to LOI Fan TV, and today the European draws have been made for the Irish sides. Of course, Shamrock Rovers taking part in the Champions League. Then we have Dundalk, Bohemians and Sligo Rovers in the Europa Conference League as well. Really exciting time of year. I love seeing the European draws with the Irish sides. It's such a good laugh and such a good crack, and it's a shame we can't get over. I don't think we'll be able to get over to any of the games away from home. It's just a shame because it's such a good crack for the Irish fans to get that opportunity to go into Europe, and it doesn't come around very often for some sides. But of course, it's a little bit different this year because we don't have any sides actually in the Europa League draw. We just have a Champions League side, and we have three sides in the UEFA Europa Conference League. I don't even know what the actual name of it is, but yeah, it's exciting times, and that's the Conference League is one where it feels like the Irish sides can go far, because the level of competition is a lot lower. But we will have to start off with the champions Shamrock Rovers. They have been given a very, very tough draw. They have to travel to Slovakia to play against Slovan Bratislava. Obviously the second leg will be in the Tata Stadium then as well. Dundalk fans may remember playing against Slovan Bratislava. They lost 3-1 in Tala Stadium there in 2019 as 4-1 on aggregate. They lost 1-0 in Slovakia. I was actually at the match in Tala myself, and to be honest, Bratislava are a decent side. It's going to be a tough task for Rovers, but they're not unbelievable, they're not unbeatable, definitely not. And there was a stage in that game, Dundalk fans, let me know if you remember this, but Pat Hoban actually missed a penalty for Dundalk. And at the time, I can't remember exactly what score it was at the time, but if he scored that penalty, they were right back in the game and definitely had a chance of beating Bratislava. It's going to be really tough for Rovers. Obviously going to Slovakia is always a tough trip as well, and it's a good level of team as well. So it is going to be very, very tough. The first leg will take place on the 6th or 7th of July with the return game in Tala a week later. Shamrock Rovers are guaranteed a huge €810,000 for competing in this first round qualifying game, which is a nice sum of money, and they'll fancy their chances a little bit. You think, obviously at the moment they're a little bit out of form, they have a lot of injury concerns. Let's see, how far are we away now? A couple of weeks away from that first leg. They'd like to get a lot of players back in their side. I think Richie Tell will be joining on the 1st of July, so that we need him to come in and be raring to go, and I assume this draw will get him right up for that, and he'll be buzzing to get going. So yeah, having a full strength side is crucial for Shamrock Rovers, and don't write them off. Obviously, if they do lose this game, which is obviously a possibility because they're playing against such a good side, they will go into the third round of the UEFA Conference League. They will skip the second qualifying round and go straight into the third round, so they'll have to win that, and then there's a playoff game I believe as well to get into the group stage of the Conference League. So if they do lose this game against Bratislava, the European dream isn't over, but I'd love to see them win it. I'm always up for the Irish sides. I feel like if you're an LOI fan and you're not in Europe, you always want the Irish sides to do well. You kind of put rivalries aside a little bit and kind of root for them. So yeah, I do hope Shamrock Rovers can pull off an upset in this one, because I think Bratislava will definitely be favourites coming into this. A couple of their players, a really recognisable name, Vladimir Weiss. He is currently in the Slovakia national team competing at Euro 2020. So it just shows you the calibre of player that is playing in this Bratislava side. Of a couple of good players as well. And yeah, it's going to be a really tricky game, but definitely not out of the realms of possibility that Shamrock Rovers can beat them, I don't think. Moving on into the Europa Conference League, it's going to take me a while to even get used to what that's called, but yeah, Sligo Rovers have been drawn against an Icelandic side. It's the same at Bohs. We'll start off with Sligo. They're playing, I'm going to butcher these names, FH Hafnarfjordur, play host to Sligo Rovers first, and I was looking, I'd say I did about 30 seconds research into each of the teams in the Europa Conference League that have been drawn against the Irish side, so I'm going to have a little bit of knowledge just based off 30 seconds of research. But a name that stuck out to me from this Icelandic side was Stephen Lennon, because that's not a very Icelandic name, and that's because it isn't. It's a Scottish name. Stephen Lennon is a Scottish footballer who plays as a striker for FH Hafnarfjordur. He has previously played for teams such as Rangers, Partick Thistle, Lincoln City, Dundalk. Does anyone remember him playing for Dundalk? I don't remember him, to be honest. But if Dundalk fans, do you remember Stephen Lennon? He will be going up against Sligo Rovers in the Conference League, so that's a name to keep an eye out for, definitely. And Dundalk fans, let me know if you've heard of him or you remember him playing for you. He's also played for Newport County in League 2, Fram Reykjavik and Sadnes Ulf. So yeah, mad career. But Stephen Lennon, I believe he's 33 years old, and he will be leading the line for this Icelandic side. They are currently 6th in their league after 7 games. It's a league of 12 teams, so they're banging mid-table, playing against a really informed Sligo side at the moment as well. Only concern for me with Sligo is the depth of their squad. I do worry about them in that regard. I think they're a really strong 11 on paper, but then when you look at their bench, it gets a little bit weaker, and if a couple of injuries there could really do them in. So I'm hoping that they can keep players fit and are ready to put up a challenge. And I think they're definitely capable of beating this side. So yeah, Sligo Rovers playing against FH Hafnar Jordor. Sligo Rovers fans, let me know what you're thinking down in the comments below. Next up, we have Bohemians, who of course came second in the Irish League last season. They travelled to another Icelandic side, as I mentioned before, ST Jarnan, and their star forward, after the 30 seconds of research, as I mentioned, is 29-year-old Hilmar Arni Halldórsson. They currently sit 10th in the Icelandic League with 6 points from 8 games in the League of 12, obviously, so they're third bottom in their league after 8 games. So Bohemians can definitely take a lot of encouragement from their poor start to the campaign, and definitely a beatable side from the looks of it. The thing with these Icelandic sides are the Iceland national team has got really, really good recently. Like, obviously they've had that Euro 2016 win over England, which would have boosted people playing football in the country. That's a moment to remember forever nearly. So yeah, I feel like a lot of Icelandic people would have probably taken up football and are starting to love that. Whether that's going to have an impact on this, and we're going to see a lot of young players coming through in these Icelandic teams, it's probably unlikely. I'm not sure how many of the Icelandic players in the national team actually play for their domestic clubs, or whether they're playing across Europe. I'm not 100% sure on that, but yeah, it's a population of what, 300, 400,000. I think the Irish side have to fancy their chances against them a bit, to be honest with you. I think they'll probably be decent games. There won't be an awful lot in them probably, but yeah, I think the Irish side should fancy their chances. And lastly, we have Dundalk playing host to Newtown AFC from Wales. Their star striker is a player called Tyrone Edwine Kawaku Ofari. He's a striker who scored 9 goals for them last season. But after my little bit of research on this team, I saw that they came 7th in the Welsh League last year. 7th out of 12 teams. And they got European football. They came in the bottom half of the table and they secured European football. I really don't understand that. How can they have 7 teams from a 12-team league getting European football? That really doesn't make much sense to me now. But Dundalk, even in their terrible state at the moment, would fancy their chances against these. But then Dundalk, yeah, what are they, 8th in the league now? Really, really poor start to the season. Their whole club's in disarray. What was it last night? We saw Dave Rodgers was being announced as manager, then 15 minutes later it's Vinnie Pert's coming back. It's nearly confirmed. So the whole club is a mess. It's a shit show. And sorry, my phone is just ringing there. Really, number I don't recognise. That's strange. Hello? The Dundalk job? You're offering it to me? Nah, you're alright, Shocking. I saw that on Twitter last night. I had to just use it, I had to steal it. Such a funny joke. And yeah, it's an absolute mess at Dundalk at the moment, but you would still fancy them to beat this team. Just from my limited research, they really don't seem to have much about them at all, so you would fancy Dundalk to have enough to get by them. Just looking at a little bit of reaction we got on our Instagram from a couple of fans, we got a few comments on a post saying that Rovers will be hammered against Slovan Bratislava, and another prediction saying Slovan 3, Rovers 1. And then of course we got another Dundalk fan who said that, I know we have been poor lately, but we should batter that Welsh team. And that kind of sums it up. They have been poor, but they should still win the game. Well guys, there you have it. The draw for the Conference League and the Champions League have been made. I think all the 3 sides in the Conference League must fancy their chances in these games, whereas Shamrock Rovers have a big task ahead, but one that they will relish. And if they can get a lot of their star players back in the side, have a full strength side, Richie Towell in the mix as well, that's a bit of a wild card thrown in there as well. I think they could give Bratislava a good game, and it won't be an easy fixture at all, and I think Rovers can definitely pull it up to them. So yeah, best luck to the 4 sides competing in Europe, and I hope that we can see some sides in the Conference League group stage, because maybe that's the most realistic aim of seeing an Irish side making a stamp in Europe. I hope you did enjoy the video, guys. If you did, make sure to drop a like on it down below, and please do subscribe. We're on the road to 3k. We want to hit it as soon as we can, and we can't get there without your support. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you in a bit.